briefly. I was just reminded this weekend that in college, we had this roommate and she was like very sheltered and like had never talked to boys or anything before. And one day, or my roommate and I won't say their name, of course. My roommate and I were talking to her, and my roommate was like, "Oh yeah, I have a vibrator," and was like telling her about it and showed it to her. And the girl was like, "Oh, cool, haha." And then like a week later, my roommate couldn't find her vibrator anymore.
Oh
And
no.
we're like pretty sure she stole it, that girl.
That's so gross.
I know, isn't that disgusting? I was
Yeah.
like, first off, like I understand that you're sheltered and you're like curious, but that's just biologically, hygienically not
Also, like,
okay.
you can buy them at like Target. Like they have
Yeah.
like those massagers, quote unquote. I'm using air quotes right now. But
Yes.
like that are clearly used for certain things. Also, like buy them on the internet. Like
Right.
2013, like everyone knew that you could buy anything you wanted on the internet.
Yes. Also, I just feel like she was like, well, there's no way I could buy this for myself. So stealing it is the better option. So she's committing two different sins at the same time.
Yeah. Well, good for her, honestly.
I hope she's still using it. Oh, the reason I bring it up is because apparently that girl got married this weekend, and my roommate texted me and said, I hope they used my vibrator to consummate their marriage.
I'm wondering if she stole her boyfriend too, like her husband too,
Oh my God, yeah, with the
like
vibrator.
from somebody else. Someone's like, I have this really great boyfriend. Like he pleases me so much, or he's just like, I don't even
Yeah.
to say pleases me, but like is a really great person and like is a
Yeah.
good boyfriend. And she goes, oh, interesting. And then the next day, he was gone.
He's with her. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to get started?
Yes.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Make Me, the podcast where we force each other to do the things that we couldn't be bothered to do ourselves. I'm Jordan Steadman.
And I'm Julia Weeks.
Welcome back to another week.
Yeah, welcome back. Episode 16.
I can't believe we made it this far.
Right?
Yeah.
I know we say this every week, but it's true every week.
But it's still true.
If you stuck with us this long, it's still true.
Yeah. This is like, I feel like whenever I'm talking to people, I'm kind of like, I always ask people like, what's a weird hobby that they've like collected? Not a weird hobby, but a hobby that they have from quarantine that they didn't think that would stick.
Yeah.
But it's always like, listen to my podcast. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah, totally.
I always feel weird being the person to bring it up.
Well, you're clearly asking so you could be like, I have a podcast now. We just got these new neighbors, and the guy, I was talking to him when he moved in. He was like, well, I've been doing a lot of stuff around the house because someone told me that if you don't come out of quarantine with a hobby, like a new skill, then you failed quarantine, which I think is a bullshit line.
That's not true. I think that if you didn't have a hobby, like that's fine, and you're
That's
focusing
fine.
on your
Watch
mental health.
TV all day. Who cares?
Yeah, this is a time to do that.
But he has started like, okay, the equivalent of whittling, but with flint rock. So he's like smashing little flint rocks into like arrowheads and stuff.
Oh.
Which is cool, but Gary was telling me that when you do it, like you start out with this big rock and most of the time you don't end up with anything. So he just like smashes rocks all day, basically.
Like, is it like a gamble that like at the end, if you're going to have something?
Yeah, because it depends on like how the rock was formed. So you have to like hit the right fissure. But if you don't, then it just like breaks and then you have rock dust.
Isn't flint like super flaky too? Like it doesn't seem like a very like trustworthy like
Yeah,
medium.
exactly. I think that's like why it's fun to do, but also when you're not good at it, it's just like making tiny rocks out of big rocks.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to get into this quick because we can't have any more minutes of you doing your podcast fast.
I don't even know who goes first.
I think you go first.
Okay, I'm gonna go first and then immediately start listening to a podcast during this podcast. Okay. So this week I had to be off podcast from the last recording to this recording.
Yes,
so this is my cutoff.
It's been a little over a week.
Yeah. And I mean, there's not really a lot of a history around this, but yes. Julia, has there been a time when you just haven't been able to like access podcasts and it's like bothered you at all?
There's been times where I like need distraction. Like we went on this big camping trip last year and I couldn't fall asleep. And I was like, wow, it'd be really nice if I had Wi-Fi right now so I could just like look at Instagram and be stupid on the internet to like distract me while I fall asleep. But I didn't because we were like up in the mountains.
Yeah.
Or there's times like when I'm driving and because the way that stupid Apple made their new phones, you can't have an aux cord and a charge cord at the same time. And I'm not hip with the new cords and stuff, so I can only do one at a time. So I'll be like road tripping, listening to a podcast, and my phone will start to die, but I need a GPS, so I have to charge it and like listen to the radio or something while it's charging.
Yeah.
Life's hard for me, if you couldn't tell.
Okay. I know that that you think you're being sarcastic or whatever, but like
I'm
this week
not.
has been so hard. And so for everyone who doesn't know our recording schedule, which is all of you, we were supposed to record yesterday, and Sunday has been my cutoff in my head about when I can start listening to podcasts again. And then Julie wanted to push back, and I'm a flexible person and a good friend, so of course I said yes. But also I had to say that I had to dig in harder about how pissed off I am that I can't listen to any podcast. And like it's not one of those things where I'm like surprised about how much I listen to podcasts. Like I'm fully well aware of like the amount of podcasts that I listen to.
Yes.
And the worst thing is that like obviously I follow all of like the podcasts on Instagram.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
whenever I'd be reminded of going to listen to the podcast, or like whenever I'd go to check to like the podcast, like I couldn't do it. And like we recorded on Sunday last week, so the next day I listened to Comedy Bang Bang, and that's how I start my week, is listening to Comedy Bang Bang. And I just felt so like cock blocked for my week.
Oh
that
my
I just,
God.
like, couldn't start my week off right, and that sounds so pathetic.
I was gonna say we're gonna listen back to this and be like, wow, we have problems.
I'm okay with that because I knew this was exactly what was going to happen when
Yes.
you gave me this.
Yes. I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
How many podcasts do you listen to a week?
A lot. And I was actually about to go and like,
Okay.
I'm going to open up my podcast app for the first time, basically, give or take, since we last recorded. And we're going to go through and see what I missed.
I know you've been looking at it forlorningly, if that's a word, being like, I can't believe I'm missing Scam Goddess this week.
Oh, yes, correct. I actually tried not to open it, but my muscle memory weirdly always goes to podcasts. Like everything, like
click.
Yes, it is always the first thing I click before anything else. It's crazy because like, for the most part, I always have a podcast playing in my ear or like out loud, and like you know sometimes you half listen to them or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
But so and I obviously listened to our episode of Make Me, so like I didn't really count Make Me because I recorded the damn thing.
Right,
I wrote the damn thing. So I figured I might as well give that a listen again. I like to double check and make sure everything sounds okay.
Yes.
But so what I missed was Comedy Bang Bang, obviously. And it's Monday, so I'm like, I gotta get Patton Oswalt was on. So that's fucking rude that I missed that. Not that I can't go back and listen to it, but I'm pissed I didn't get to hear it in real time. And then we got the Neighborhood Listen with Paul F. Tompkins, and oh my gosh, Lauren Lapkus was on. And I missed that. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my God. I feel like such a monster.
And then I listened to The Office Ladies because I'm a fucking normie, and I listen to The Office Ladies where they recap.
Normie. That's one of those shows that they only. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, please cut me off.
Finish what you're saying.
I'm just a normie, and I listen to like the cast of The Office talk about making The Office. This is one of the filler ones where like it's nice to hear two people having a good time. So I listened to that, and I love to actually hear like some of the behind the scenes of The Office.
That's one of those shows that they just like feed to everyone. Like when it's like things that you might want to listen to, it's like Conan O'Brien podcast, Office Ladies, The Daily,
The Joe Rogan Experience.
The Joe Rogan Experience. Like these are the things that the normies listen to.
So and then Scam Goddess had Joel Kim Booster on.
Oh my God, I love him.
This is like a star-studded like podcast week, and I missed All of it. Oh, and then there's like the 2 episodes of My Favorite Murder every week. So they have the mini-sode and then like the regular sode.
Oh, I didn't know they did
I missed
2.
that. And then there's the new okay, and then here's the worst part is that I found a new podcast immediately before you gave me this, like
Shit.
the Make Me, and it's called the Darknet Diaries. And it's about all these like deep dives into like certain, I don't know, internet things that like are illegal or like
Like the
things that
dark
happen.
web.
Oh, kind of. I listened to one that was about like the how the NSA got involved in like the Greek Olympics and how
Ooh.
like they were like protecting against like terrorism, but then the NSA left all of like their software and stuff behind in like
Oh
the
my
phone
God.
systems. And then there's one that I was in the middle of, this 2-part series about like this like whole Xbox thing. Like when Xbox came out, these like these young developers were like hacking into them and like doing all this shit in like behind the scenes that people didn't know
Whoa.
about, and like we're making money off of it. And it was like getting real dark and stuff like that. And then I, got blue balled and I couldn't finish it.
That's even worse because when you find a new podcast or like a TV show you like, you can like binge listen, watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have listened to, I was going to ask, like, are there podcasts you go to as fillers when you run out of things to listen to from your actual listen now feed?
Yeah, I actually do a few re-listens. Oh, I also missed Why Won't You Date Me?
So good.
Um, and so those are the ones I listen to every week because then like in between, um, there's one podcast I really like called Punch Up the Jam with this girl named Miel, and she's like a musician but also like does like this podcast where like they go through the song and like make fun of it but then like make it better at the end.
I feel like I've heard of this, like other people guesting on it.
It's really good. And do you know who Chris Fleming is?
Yes.
He's been like he's been her like co-host basically for the
Oh
past
my
few
God.
episodes.
I love him. He's so
Yeah.
funny and very weird.
And then like some filler ones, there's one called The Dream, which they've had a few seasons, and it's like this woman who like she goes into like the first season's about multi-level marketing schemes and like the history and like the ins and outs of that, and then the most recent season was about like pseudo health science, so things like using crystals to
Oh
actually
my
heal
God,
your
yes.
body, and essential oils. And that one was really interesting because like technically, not technically, but like I like crystals and I like essential oils, but like almost for like the mindset stuff. But then there's
Yeah.
obviously the side of that that's like, this is science and this is health and this is how you make your body better.
Right. Yeah, of course. Like I like to use like lavender and chamomile tea to help me fall asleep. But like if I have the flu, I'm gonna go get a Z-Pack.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly how I feel.
I feel like I need to do a make me where I have you use a jade egg.
Oh my God. In my Yanni. Buy me the jade. I want a goop one.
Oh yeah, a listener send you a jade egg and a Gwyneth Paltrow vagina scented candle.
I love that. Teachers Lounge I've been listening to, which I
Nice.
tried recommending to you before, but that one's really good. That one's an improv one with those 4 dudes who are pretending to be in a teacher's lounge. And then obviously there's the Black History Buff podcast. There's the Fig Widow podcast made by Danny Janae, an Allegheny alum. Sometimes listen to What's Your Sign, which is an astrology podcast that's really, really
Yes.
good. I love those women. They apply astrology so well to people's like real lives, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they go through all the different aspects of it. And I don't absorb all of it, but it's really good to like listen to. It's like talk radio almost, where it's like you kind of
Cool.
absorb some of it, and if you do, that's really great. And if you don't internalize it, like it was entertaining.
That's what I was gonna ask. I was trying to say earlier. Like some of these, you must be like picking and choosing when you're listening to things based on what you're doing.
Yeah,
Like, because
for
I'd be
sure.
pissed if I missed like the narrative of Comedy Bang Bang while I was reading or whatever.
Right, exactly. So like there's like my dog walking podcast where I'll just like walk Squid for an hour and like listen to
Yeah.
a podcast, or like my showering, washing dishes, walking the dog, and like cleaning. Those are all like things that I can listen to the podcast. And
Yes.
like I can focus and I can do what I'm doing, or like laundry. That's a big one. Is like
Yeah, yeah,
listening to
yeah.
podcasts while doing laundry. But then there's like my my work podcast where like I'm answering emails and I'm like doing graphics, I'm doing like I'm making Instagram posts and stuff like that, and it's like nice to have something in the background that kind of feels like I'm not like by myself.
Yeah, it's like sitting in a coffee shop and not being able to understand anyone around you
Right,
what they're saying,
exactly.
but they're there.
Exactly. And it's like entertaining and you can like go in and out of it without it like being a problem necessarily.
Yes, yes.
I do listen to podcasts in the car as well. And I had to succumb to talk radio or like
Oh
not
my
even
god.
just regular radio.
Oh my god, with the fucking shock jocks.
Yeah. And there's one radio DJ in Pittsburgh, and I feel like every city has this, but it's like it's a specific type of like woman like radio DJ who's like clearly like one of the guys and like says
Yes.
super
Oh my
sexist
god.
things all the time. And
Yes.
it's always saying things like, I don't know about you ladies, but I'm gonna be shopping at Amazon all weekend, and my husband hates when like he sees the boxes pile up at my house.
Oh my
Oh,
god. So you loved her is what you're saying.
I love her, and she's amazing. But it's always like women be shopping humor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My favorite humor.
So that was a lot of fun. I listened to a lot of NPR. I
Nice.
mean, I
Did
listen
you
to
learn
NPR anyway in
anything?
the radio. I was learning about there's this what country was it? I forget, but there was like a village somewhere in the world. I clearly didn't internalize it a lot, but they're having a problem with like their elephant population coming into their farms and like
Hmm.
taking their things. And they learned through all these experiments that elephants are afraid of bees.
Oh.
So they put up like a bee wall, which was like these posts that had like bee like houses on them or whatever, or
Yeah.
bees nests that they like could use on their farm as like bees,
That's so
having bees,
cool.
but also it's like a natural way to prevent like the elephants from coming in. Like it was like a
Wow.
live like a symbiotic, like, and without like putting up like shock fences or something like that, you know what I mean? And it's
Right,
not like
right.
the elephants are getting hurt because like they already have a natural aversion to the bees, so they're kind of just like, all right, I'm out, nope, no
I don't
elephants over here.
I don't need those vegetables this much.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you listen to I just want to like get a glimpse at your typical week is you wake up, you turn on a podcast, you're listening to podcasts basically all day on and
Hmm.
off. So like you're on and off meaning you're not listening intently all the time
Yeah, and it's
unless
either
you're doing something else that you don't need your brain to use.
yeah, exactly. And I also listen to music and stuff too. Like there's in between, and it's not like constant, but it
Yes.
is like it's pretty consistent. It helps me get out of the bed in the morning
Yes. Same.
because like it's easy to just scroll and like
Yes.
look at your phone, but sometimes to like have the entertainment in your ear and you can just keep going forward and just like
Yes.
it's like a nice transition.
It's so nice for you to say that, for me to hear you say that, because I do the same thing. Like I'll be scrolling, and I'm not even enjoying it, but I like don't have anything else to do for that hour. So I'm like, whatever. And then as soon as you hit a podcast, you're like, okay, well, I can stand up, get dressed, brush my
Yeah.
teeth. It sounds so lame.
Well, here's the thing is I once had a therapist tell me like because I sometimes have trouble like going grocery shopping or like doing adult things that I have to do. And I was like, it's
Yeah,
really hard for me to do those things without having a friend come with me because like it's much more enjoyable. I feel more relaxed. If I don't know what I'm
totally.
doing, I get really bad anxiety. And like even if they don't know what's happening, it's nice to have somebody there with me to do it. And I was like feeling really bad about it. And she's like, well, why don't you just ask a friend to come with you when you need to do those hard things? Because then eventually you'll like do it yourself because you'll know how to
Yeah,
do it once, or it's just like nice to have someone around. And that's kind of how I treat podcasts. It's like
yeah,
it's not hurting anybody, it's not hurting me. If anything,
right,
I'm learning more things. I'm
totally.
like having a good time. It's like obviously growing like yours, my friendship, and like
Yeah,
it's our friendship's deeply rooted in that. So like I don't feel bad about it, and like I don't
right.
think
You shouldn't.
it if it's lame, that's for other people to decide. And if they
Sure.
think it's lame, like that only sucks for them.
Yeah, true. Are there moments where you are alone and not listening to anything? Like quiet.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because last week specifically, was the week that I I was doing this, is I was having really bad anxiety about being bored all the time,
Oh
especially
no.
within coronavirus. But it opened up room to have a really good talk with my therapist about like what boredom actually is,
Cool.
and that it's like a displacement of like, you know, just being like, I could just be content when I'm quote unquote bored, but like there's something that's like holding me back from just like being okay. Like
Yes.
boredom is like, if like your boredom is so bad that like you feel jittery and weird about it, like there's clearly something else that you're holding on to.
Right.
And it's not the fact that like you're not doing, it's not because you're not doing something you feel bored. It's because like there's like another thing happening.
Yes. Yeah, totally. I feel like I don't know where this came from, but I feel like people that aren't constantly listening to something are better than me in some way.
Yeah.
But then also I think it's so weird. Like I know a lot of people that when they drive to work, they don't listen to anything, like just silence, and that would drive me crazy. And I think
That's
it's
wild to
crazy.
me. My
I
Go ahead.
I used to see these people in the gym running on the treadmill with no headphones in or anything.
That sounds awful, especially because like I if I don't have anything in when I'm like running at the gym, I only hear like my own footsteps and like my
Yes.
own breathing. And then like and then I think about everyone like looking at me. You know what I
Yes.
mean? But
And
if I
why do
have
I want
like,
to hear myself struggling?
exactly, because everyone else can hear it. um my dad, he used to listen to talk radio in the morning, and sometimes we would like leave like the radio, like I don't want to say service, but like it'd get fuzzy, and this man would just like listen to half fuzz, half
Oh
like this
my
person talking, and it was
God.
always like Rush Limbaugh or Glenn Beck or somebody like,
Uh,
and just like them like yelling, and it's like, can you please just turn it off? Like that was like that's the only time in my life I'm like, just like please turn off the fucking noise. I can't handle this anymore.
we're not even listening to anything. We're listening like piecemeal words and static.
And it's all fucking racist.
So I'm interested to hear about what you did this week instead of the podcast.
I'm so happy that you asked because I made something very special for you and the listeners.
Oh my God, yes.
So so the main thing that I replaced my podcast time with was music, because
Cool.
obviously like I'm still walking Squid, I'm still taking showers, I'm still washing dishes, I'm still doing laundry. I don't want to be silent, you know? So
Right.
I really just like leaned back on music for
Yeah.
those times. So I made a playlist. I
Yay!
made my own playlist. Now, do you remember when we were talking on on the episode about playlists, about my Mixie Mix CDs?
Yes, I do remember the
So
Mixie Mix.
I have one Mixie Mix CD still, and it was in my car, and it's the original one.
Whoa, a relic.
And it's a it's the brainchild of mostly my older brother, but also me. I told him some of the songs I wanted on it, and this was
And it
before I knew how to make songs or how to make playlists.
playlist. And it
I
has
still
those
don't know how to
two
make a
songs
song.
on it. Those two songs that are classic on every Mixie Mix.
So I need to apologize to everybody because I'm a big fat liar, and Big Girls Don't Cry is not on the original Mixie Mix.
Oh, I feel like I've been lied to.
I
I
know.
feel
I
like
feel so bad.
everything I know about you and your music tendencies is wrong. Oh, I got a text from you.
So that's the cover of the
Oh
Mixie
my
Mix CD. And as you
God.
see, it'll say Mixie Mix the original, and then in parentheses, my songs from '07.
And there's a little bullseye that you drew on it that reminds me of the NSYNC album No Strings Attached, their CD, but not
It does look
exactly.
like that. So okay, so I went and sat in my car to listen to this because I don't have a CD player,
Right, who does?
and half of it doesn't work, and I had to like take it out a couple times and wipe it just to get the song to play a little bit so I could figure out what the
Oh
song
my
was. So
God.
I remastered the original Mixie Mix and made it a playlist on
Yes,
Spotify.
yes.
So the first song is Good Riddance by Green Day.
A classic.
Yeah. I I remember listening to this song and like thinking about how like the main thing about this playlist is that in 2007 I was in 7th grade and I had not experienced any like real world problems,
Yes.
but like this mixtape specifically let me experience every problem that like is imaginable.
Yes, completely.
You know what I mean? So like Good Riddance is like a fork in the road, like a big decision I have to make that I've never had to make before. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yes.
like it gave this like false sense of like adulthood.
Like nostalgia too. It's always played on like graduation playlists or at the end of camp they would do like video and pictures of that week and they would play this song and everyone was crying.
Yeah. So then followed up by Green Day is obviously 2 more Green Day songs. So we got When I Come Around and Maria by Green Day. Followed up by Girls and Boys by Good Charlotte.
Oh my god, yes.
And to cap that section off of the playlist is another Green Day song, Brain Stew.
Wow, I love that you were like, I want this chunk of Green Day. Didn't think to mix Green Day in like a salad where you want all of your toppings mixed in. You did a chunk and then you went astray for one song and we're like, wait, we need more Green Day.
I just feel like that's how like mixtapes were. It was that like you would do like this section of like this artist that you like, and then you go into the next one. At least that's
Wait,
how I did it.
yeah, my way was not that. I would have my LimeWire playlist, like all the songs I wanted in my CD on LimeWire, and then I would like manually randomize them so that they weren't
Oh,
all the same artist back to back to back.
that's smart. I didn't have that kind of forethought. So then after we have this Green Day Good Charlotte mix, we've got Cupid's Chokehold by the Gym Class Heroes.
Oh my, that's like the seventh grade song.
Yes, exactly. And then what happens is this is clearly when like my brother started having more of a creative license in this because he was one who made it for me. And I think
Right.
he had to go to his friend's house who had like all this like downloaded music. So he went over there and did it rather than like
Nice.
destroy our family computer.
Right.
So then we have Head on Collision by Newfound Glory.
Okay. I don't
And
think I
then
know that.
yeah, that makes sense. I see this is one of those songs that I don't know if I would have known then, and I only know these songs from like this mix CD.
Totally.
And then we have two Coheed and Cambria songs. We've
Well,
got The Suffering and Welcome Home.
I forgot about Coheed and Cambria.
Yeah.
That's an older brother. My older brother listens to this and I want to like it, but I'm not sure I do.
Yes, exactly. And then we've got Drive by Incubus, because obviously in 7th grade I'm
Great.
dealing with, drinking and driving.
Yeah.
And then this one resonated with me so much is Hands Down by Dashboard Confessional.
Oh my God, yes.
This song laid out what I thought love was. Like
That's
I
dangerous.
always it's so dangerous. Like I always thought that my first date was going to be this like hyper romantic, hypersexual tension, like romantic like thing where like I walked this girl to a gate and I kissed her and it was like it meant everything and like all of that.
Hands down, it was the best damn something that you could ever remember.
Yeah. And then we have a song called Lamar by the Beautiful Girls.
Okay, I've never heard
It's
it.
a very sad acoustic song. And then do you know the band Ballyhoo?
No.
So Ballyhoo is like this band of like surfer bros, it seems like. And it
Love
seems
it.
like the entire vibe of it is like get drunk, party all day, deal with like the romance of that.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 songs. We got The Quest, Everything, and Cerveza by Ballyhoo. And then the last song to cap it all off is another Incubus song, which is Dig.
Wow, I haven't heard that song in so long.
Yeah.
This is a great playlist.
It is really good. So I took it one step further and I made the ultimate mixy mix mixtape possible called Mixtape Infinity.
Oh, with like flames drawn all over it, I'm imagining. I love what I see already.
So Mixy Mix Infinity is a playlist I created that it contains all of the original of Mixy Mix, the original My Songs of '07, plus what I remember of Mixy Mix 2 and 3, which you've got, Big Girls Don't Cry, you've got The Postal Service, you got more Green Day. We put some like Lady Gaga. So I remember Love Games, Bad Romance, Poker Face, and Paparazzi were like hardcore in my iPod shuffle. We've got some
Yes.
Nickelback. So this is where bisexual Nickelback comes from. We got some more Good Charlotte, some more Incubus. And then what I did is I added some things that I thought that I knew that I would have listened to back then,
Yes.
or I should have listened to back then. So Lazy Eye by Silver Sun Pickups. We got some Owl City, and then I added Saint Beauty, which is like a more contemporary person, and then basically the entire Juno soundtrack.
I know, I just saw that. And that reminds me, in middle school, this girl who I thought was very cool and I wanted to be friends with, and I became friends with her later in high school, but she had a like the iPod video, so the big chunky iPods, and people always had the cases for them, and she had like a sticker on the front that was Juno with the orange stripes, and all in the back, and the case and the cover. And they were always listening to this playlist, which is like weird folky covers of stuff and like really sad folky music. And I always thought they were so cool, and that Juno was so cool, and that's who I wanted to be in middle school. And that album reminds me of like that weird, like forlorn feeling I had wanting to be friends with someone that was a hipster before their time.
I want to put on like a knee-length plaid skirt and wear jeans and listen to this playlist.
Yes. Michael Cera sings one of the songs in the album.
Yeah.
He has pretty good voice.
He has like a whole album. I think he like comes out with
know.
albums.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
And now Ellen Page is crushing it on Umbrella Academy too.
She's just crushing it.
And she has a very cool wife who's a dancer.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my playlist. What do you think?
I love it. I'm especially happy that, like, one of the things I think about a lot when I'm trying to find old music, or like, old to me, is that I wish that I had made playlists for myself every year of my life so that I could go back to them.
Yeah.
Because there's songs that you listen to in like the mid 2000s that I bet we haven't heard since then, but it's very quintessentially like 2006.
I wish I could just like access my LimeWire from when I was like 13.
Yes.
Because that would tell me so much.
Yes, totally. And I feel like this playlist is doing that. And it does have some stuff that I haven't heard before, or like stuff that I know my siblings listen to, but I didn't listen to. And I love that.
Yeah.
So did you listen to this playlist a lot during the week?
When I was creating the playlist and I was getting the vibe for this podcast, I listened to it a lot. And I rediscovered like the Juno soundtrack recently when we were camping.
It's so good.
And then like Incubus really came to mind, and Coheed and Cambria have kind of been like, secretly these two Coheed and Cambria songs will pop up randomly like every month for me. I'll be like, I'm gonna listen to that Coheed and Cambria song again, and I'll play it.
Awesome.
So it wasn't specifically that I listened to it a lot this week on purpose, but these are songs that I've realized have stuck with me and have really shaped like the music I listen to now and who I am as a person. Not to put that much pressure on like one CD, but like you guys might have learned from the mixtape or the playlist episode, half my personality was music when I was 14. So, and the other half of it was being sad.
And a lot of times they crossed over.
Yeah.
So, I love the playlist. I'm going to listen to it later today. And I want to know, okay, so you said you were like listening to music a lot during the week and you made this playlist. And I just don't want you to skirt around any of the harsh feelings you have towards not listening to podcasts, or like if you had to sit with your thoughts at all, or did you pick up new skills like my neighbor says you have to in times of hardship?
Well, actually, I did pick up a new skill on accident. Yeah. And I think this is directly have to do with like the displacement I felt with not having like my crutch of like podcasting to get me through, and like the feeling of boredom. And every time I went to go touch I did open up the podcast app a couple times because of my muscle memory, and that's just like what it does. And every single time I did that, I was newly mad at you. And every single time I wanted to text you about how pissed off I am at you. About how I just want to do the simple thing. And like, this is something I talked to my therapist about. I was like, sometimes I just want to do something and people stop me from doing it. And I don't understand why, because it's not hurting anybody else.
It's for the podcast, at least this time.
But with this displacement and what I felt, I think that had a big held a large key to the impulse makeup buy that I had at
Yes.
Target. So I
Yes.
finally bought an eyeshadow palette to play around with, and I did a couple cool makeup looks. I'll post them on the Instagram
Yes.
and let you all see them. I don't know if it's directly has to do with the no podcast week, but I think that in my head, when I look back to the week, those two things will be like defining characteristics.
Honestly, your looks already look so good that I'm so thankful that I could give you this gift of not listening to podcasts this week so that you could buy makeup finally.
If that's what you want to take out of it, I'll let you have it.
So, anything else you have to say about the no podcast week?
Yeah. I'm just gonna double down. So if you need me, make it a podcast and tell me about it, because I'm not gonna be responding to anything until I listen to all the podcasts. The second thing is go listen to the playlist. I made
Yes, yes,
cover
yes.
art for it, so please go check it out. If you want to know who I am as a person, this is the playlist to understand that. It's living and breathing. And it's on actually the official Make Me Spotify page. Because
Yay.
I don't have a Spotify, so I just used our Make Me one. So
Awesome.
follow us there, I guess.
Follow us there. Follow Jordan's music and podcast journey.
Yeah.
All
Should we
right,
take
how
a
would you
break?
rate this? You
Oh, I
gotta
forgot
rate
about
things.
rating. Okay.
Yeah.
So out of 10 tracks,
Okay.
I give this week, I give this Make Me a 10,
Oh my God.
because like even as pissed off as I am about it, which I'm also 9 tracks pissed off at you, if that makes sense. I'm 10 tracks happy that I got to like focus on something else, and I got to re-examine this playlist. Also, I've never, like, in the past like 10 years, I haven't been able to like listen to the CD completely because it's so scratched up, because it just like
Yes.
exists in like my like middle console. Like there's no
Right.
box or
Of
anything for
course.
it, and I keep it mostly for nostalgia. So to like remaster it and make it listenable is a treat, actually.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Would you ever do this make me again?
No. And if you, everyone, if anyone tries to tell me to not listen to podcasts for any amount of time, I'm gonna tell them to go fuck themselves, because I'm
Go
not
fuck
doing it
yourself.
again. And if you can excuse me, I'm gonna go listen to some podcasts now.
Yeah, let's take a break. Jordan's gonna listen to a podcast and we'll come back.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Hey Make Meers, I wanted to take some time to tell you about an amazing artist, Ray Ajmi. They're a non-binary artist based in Brooklyn, New York. They make comics, prints, and various crafts to help you feel your full feelings. Find them on Instagram at rajmi or at their website, rachelajmi.com. Honestly, I'm looking at their stuff right now, and I have to tell you, it's fucking awesome. I love their comics, which you can find on their website, and shout out to episode 13. They're way better than I could ever be. And they recently put on their Instagram a set of linen napkins with fish embroidered on them that I am obsessed with. I need a set for my future fancy apartment. You can follow them and get your own. Find links to their pages in the show notes. Bye. Welcome back.
Hi.
What podcast did you listen to?
I listen to every podcast at the same exact time. So I listen to My Favorite Murder on top of Comedy Bang Bang, on top of Why Won't You Date Me, on top of Scam Goddess.
And what'd you learn?
It was frightening. I cried. I laughed. I'll never do it again.
Sounds successful.
Thank you. Julia, what was your Make Me this week again?
My Make Me was to make a game.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to lie. I forgot.
That's okay, because I didn't forget.
You seem kind of bitter about it.
I seemed like I forgot for a second, but I promise I didn't. So, you know, games have been around forever. I like started to do research on games, but it's not so interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's like they've been in our lexicon forever. Like as soon as there is human history, there are games of some sort, which is very cool.
Yeah.
Which is like humans just find ways to entertain themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and have to like push their brains and stuff, which is cool, I think. But I don't want to like dig into the history because that would just be like a history lesson over all of human history.
Exactly. There's so many different kinds of games too. Like you'd
Yes.
have to like specifically pick one game, one kind of game even to even like do a thorough history because everything else would seem like this seems it would be too vague and it'd be like humans
Yes.
existed.
Big surprise. So I guess what I want to start with is what types of games, when you think back on like your childhood or your adult life, what are games that stand out? Like ones that you were very obsessed with, ones that you play with your friends a lot, like things that you're going to remember for the rest of your life versus like those phone games you play for a week and never turn back to.
Yeah. So the games that have stuck with me. So starting off my childhood, like games like Scrabble were a big one.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Um, Trouble, I love Trouble because I love the popper
Me
thingy.
too.
And I remember I specifically had I had like a Power Rangers Trouble game.
Whoa, so it was like Power Ranger themed.
Yeah, it was Power Ranger themed. It had like the Power Ranger colors, so that was really
Nice.
fun. And then another one that stuck was Battleship. I loved
Oh,
Battleship.
yes. That was so fun.
And then more contemporary or recent games that I really like. Have you ever played Codenames?
Yeah, I love code names.
Codenames is so fun. Like that's
They
the number one game to buy for like a big group of people who don't know each other very well.
Yes, and it easily turned into a drinking game. Like
Hmm.
people of all ages can play it. You can play with your dumb old relatives
Yeah.
and your dumb young relatives.
We played a lot of Yahtzee. I still kind of play a lot of Yahtzee.
Cool.
A lot of card games. I love like Phase 10. Phase 10 is
What's
like one of
that?
my favorite games. It's like, have you ever played Gin Rummy?
Yes.
It's basically the same rules as Gin Rummy, but like it's the same makers of Uno. So if Uno is Crazy Eights, Phase 10 is Gin Rummy. But like
Got it.
obviously they have more flexibility with like all the cards and stuff like that.
Right, right, right. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I'm really competitive when it comes to like games I'm good at. But when I'm
Yeah.
bad at games, I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm just a team player. I'm like, I'm cool. I'm chill.
This game's stupid and I don't even like it
Yeah.
anymore. um, I was thinking about this too. Like when I think of games that you just make up on the fly, or like games that you've done as kids, it's often games where you don't even need anything tangible. And I was
Yeah.
thinking Mad Libs falls into that too.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is something tangible, but that's like it's more of a game than like anything else.
Yeah. And you can do it without having like a starter pack or like having
Yes.
like materials now. Like you could just like do that on your own.
Yes, totally. And I'm with you. Like I love Sorry too. We also played a lot of Boggle, not
Mhm.
Scrabble. And one I was thinking of recently was this game we played called Spy Alley, which was like clue
Oh,
kind
I
of
love
for
Clue.
kids.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you have friends that are in on this, but I have a lot of friends that do this, and also my brother's really big into the new wave of like tabletop gaming. So like board games that are like huge strategy only made for
Yeah.
adults, and then also like the little figurine like miniatures and stuff.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the game? I might butcher this. The Betrayal of the House on the Hill.
No.
Or it's like the Betrayal of the Haunting of the House on the Hill. It's like some like
Ooh,
that. And it's like a longer form board game where you
sounds
start
fun.
off and you have to like build the board as you go. Like there's all these pieces and some on some of your
Cool.
turns you have to put a square in, like you're building like a house and you put all
Yes.
these rooms in. And then at one point you trigger like the betrayal, and depending on what it is, you like go into the like I don't remember exactly the mechanics of it, but like a certain thing gets triggered, and depending on the book or like whatever dice you roll, it's a different story. And there's so many different kinds of
Oh,
stories that can go into it. So every time you play, it's different, and the board's different every time
that's so
because
fun.
like you're building the board as you go.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah, I really like it.
It's a friend game, like your friends do it and you join them.
Yeah, we played it once, but it's something I think about a lot. I really like
Yeah.
longer form games like that. Like a game where you can like make the night the game.
Yes,
You know what I
yes.
mean? because you have something to do. You can drink and like do casual stuff, and it's like, especially now that like we were talking about this yesterday, but like, remember when used to be able to like wake up on like Saturday morning at like 10 and start drinking at 11 and then drink all day and then do it again on Sunday and then go to class
Yes.
the next day? I just can't do that anymore,
No way. There's
personally.
no way. You
So
die.
exactly. So like we've had to be more creative. So games are a good way to do that. So I really like games that like keep you entertained like that.
Yeah, plus I feel like that's one of those my biggest problem is that I never think ahead. So I like that someone else is like it's going to be a whole night's event
Hmm.
rather than all of you sitting around and being like what should we do? Like play a board game and then you have to like do all the setup and teach
Yeah.
people how to play and whatever instead of like knowing that's your day.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I'll say is make sure you know your audience before you do this, because some people, to no fault of their own, are just not game people and
Yeah.
aren't there to do games. So before you host a game night, make sure like your all of your friends are in on it and they know what's about to happen.
Also, the people that aren't into games should just say like sorry, that's not for me and not come.
Right, exactly. But also
Don't
just
be a
like
party pooper.
don't pop it up on somebody and have an expectation to be like, okay, everyone's gonna come, like everyone come over, we're gonna hang out, and we're gonna do like, well, maybe we'll play a game or something. And
Yeah.
then people show up and you have like a game that takes 4 hours to play and the person didn't sign up for that.
Yes. Well, that's what I was trying to say is like the hardest and worst part about playing games is like the deciding to do it and then actually like getting everything out because it seems like such a big to do. And then once you're doing it, it's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
But with that in mind, I was thinking about okay, so also you and I are on Zoom, so it's hard to play games together. There's
Hmm.
actually some really cool things you can do online where you can like download a software that has a bunch of board games virtually, so you and I could play like Battleship online,
Oh, cool.
which is fun. But I didn't do that. But something that I've always really liked are like word games that you can play without a board or without piece of paper or anything.
Okay.
And I think about these a lot like on long car rides when you've already listened to like two podcasts, you've listened to music, like, and you need something to pass the time,
Yeah.
or just like sometimes Gary and I will play them because we don't want to just like sit there and converse about what we've been talking about all day. So we'll be like, let's play this game. And then it just like gets you laughing and like fun and then you do whatever else.
Yeah.
So do you, when I say that, do you have any in mind that you've played before, like in the car as a kid, whenever?
Yeah, there's a couple. So one is like, have you ever played the grocery game where like you say like, I'm going to the store and I'm gonna get apples, and you start with
Yes.
A and then you
Yeah.
build it and you say, okay, and the next person goes, I'm gonna go to the store, I'm gonna get apples and bananas, and the next
Yes.
person's like, okay, I'm going to the store, I'm getting apples, bananas, and carrots, and you have to like keep building and you have to say all of
Yes.
them. And then another one is a celebrity name game where like I would say the full name of a celebrity and the person has to say a name of a celebrity using the first letter or the first letter of the last name of the name I
Yes.
said. So if I say Tom Cruise, you could say um
Christina Applegate.
and yes, and then I would say Anderson Cooper. And we played this one when we went camping. We were on a pretty long hike and like 50% of it of the last bit was like uphill and we were just
Oh my
exhausted
God.
and dead. And I started playing this game and I was like, I don't want to play this. And then when everyone was like didn't want to think about how much their legs hurt anymore, we played it.
That's so
And
fun.
yeah. And that just goes like off of your point, like, well, if we're like we want to distract ourselves or we don't want to like not talk about anything, it was a good
Right.
way to like keep our mind distracted from like how like uncomfortable we were in that
Yes.
moment.
Yes, totally. Plus we used to play or you and I have played say we're trying to say the same word game.
Yeah.
So we both start saying one word and you like try to find the middle ground,
Yeah, exactly.
which you may have found on one of our previous episodes. Um, and then I remember also, did you play where you had the whole alphabet and you're in a car ride and everyone has to like the goal is to get every letter from like street signs, license plates,
Oh no, that one sounds
whatever.
fun though.
So you're trying to get like A through Z from signs and whatever before your brother does.
Yeah, that's so funny.
And then two shout outs. one of my favorite ones of these games is called Fake Laughing. I don't know if it's called that, but that's the game where you're staring someone in the eyes and you both start fake laughing, and whoever real laughs first loses.
Wait, that's amazing. I love the idea of
And
that.
it's pretty fast. Like we could play it right
Yeah.
now.
Okay, wait, do you want to play?
Yeah, let's do it. All right,
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Ha 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 ha. Oh, you sound like a little witch.
I win.
I was not expecting that. Okay, and then biggest shout out of all time is to my brother Clayton Weeks. One time, a few years ago, he was driving me to the train station at like 2 a.m. So we were both jittery and like crazy and awake, like just hyper.
Yeah.
And we were talking about something, and we were talking about food, and somehow the phrase hammy meatball came up. Like there's a lot of ham in that meatball.
Yeah.
And so now we play this game called Hammy Meatball, where you have to say that phrase as fast as you can to the other person, and they have to guess, well, like a version of that phrase. So they have to guess if you're saying hammy meatball,
Uh-huh.
hammy eat ball, or ham me meatball.
I love that.
So I'll just be like, hammy ball. And he's like, I think you said ham me meatball. And I'll be like, damn, you got it.
That's so funny. My brother and I played this like unofficial game we used to get into this on accident where like I would say a phrase or like it would be natural in the conversation and then he would say something back. So if I say something like I packed a box lunch, he would say shoe box, and I would say something shoe. I see I'm already like obviously when you're texting you have more time to think about it, but we used to go on hours back and forth just like doing that.
That's so fun. I feel like plus with siblings, you just read each other's minds a little better, so everything is goofy too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for my game, I was thinking of all these fun word games we can play. Thinking of my favorite types of these games, which I really enjoy 20 questions. It's another one of those games that's like both people are participating equally and you're like kind of collaborating, but also you're trying to stump the other person.
Yeah. There's also like room in there to like not play the game for a second too, which I really like.
Yes, totally. So same with this game I created. I don't have a good name for it. Listeners, figure it out.
Name that game.
Name that game. So the name of the game is it's like 20 questions kind of, but it's like noun, verb, adjective, proper noun.
Okay.
So I'll say to you, I'm thinking of like a movie, a person, a state, a city, whatever.
Okay.
And then I'll say to you a noun that is related to that person, place, thing, whatever that I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
And you get a guess with a noun. If you don't guess it right on the noun, I have to think of a verb that also illustrates that thing. And you get to guess again. And then with adjective and then with proper noun. There's a fun twist to this game where that if I say I'm thinking of a state and you can guess it without any clues, you win completely. Game's over. You never have to play again.
Never again. Wait, that's amazing. I love that.
So do you want to play?
I would love to play.
Okay. I'm thinking of a movie.
Okay. Deuce Bigelow, European Gigolo.
No. I used to love that movie as a dumb kid that knew nothing about PC culture.
Oh my God, me too.
Okay, so it's not that.
Okay.
The noun that describes this movie is teenager.
Can I have a question?
Yes.
Are you allowed to use like is there a rule against using a word that's in the actual word as like one of your clues? Okay.
Great question. You can't say any of the words that are the word.
Okay. That sounds good.
So
teenager.
The noun is teenager.
High School Musical.
No, but good guess. Okay, the verb is crowned, like to be crowned.
Oh, crowned. It's a movie about teenagers that are being crowned. Oh, It's Princess Diaries.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Wait, that's so fun.
Do you want to try doing it on your end?
Yeah, I do. It's really funny because I was gonna say Ella Enchanted, but I was like, no, I'm gonna do the other princess movie about what's her face. Wait, what is her name? Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. Wait, Anne Hathaway's in Ella Enchanted?
Oh, I meant Enchanted. Ella Enchanted
Oh.
is Amy
Oh.
Adams.
Yes, I was gonna say.
And not teenagers.
Yes.
Okay, let me think of something. Okay, I'm thinking of a band.
Okay. Is it Paramore?
No, it's not Paramore. Okay. My noun
Yeah.
is hair.
White Snake.
No.
You
And then next is
can do verb or adjective. It doesn't matter,
we'll
really.
do verb.
I think you always want to start with noun and you want to end with proper noun because the proper noun will probably give it away the most.
Okay. Okay, I'll do adjective then.
Okay.
British.
British hair band. One Direction.
Yep.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
I was saying One Direction because hair, like Harry Styles.
So I was thinking, the reason I said hair is because I feel like every member of One Direction, when like they were One Direction, had like a very distinct kind of hair.
Yes,
You know what I
they
mean?
did.
So, like,
That's
Harry
such a
had
good observation.
had like the mop, and then you had Niles, who just had like he had like just like short, like curly-ish hair.
Yes.
And then Zayn had like the one blonde strip, and it was like wavy.
Yeah.
Liam had
God.
just like normal boy hair, and then
Yeah.
who's the other one who was blonde? Or is that Niles?
That's Niall.
Niall.
Wait, Louis? Is that one of them?
Oh, Louis had like the normal curly boy, like the schoolboy curly hair.
Yes.
Liam had normal boy hair, and then Niall had
Normal
blonde
boy
hair.
That's a really good observation. I never really considered that. But do you like the game?
Yeah, I love this game. These are like I thrive on these games.
Plus, so I was thinking about it, and I like games that are cooperative rather than I'm trying to stump you.
Yeah.
And like in this game, I'm not trying to give it away too fast, but I'm also not trying to like completely fuck you over.
Yeah.
Like I could have said a bunch of weird shit for Princess Diaries that you never would have gotten.
Yeah. And like everything's broad enough that like it could have been a lot of things. So it also, I like the element of like playing to your audience.
Yes.
And that's really fun.
And also you can make the thing that you're guessing anything. So it could be really personal too. Like I'm thinking of a person we both know.
Yeah.
And then you could do it based off that.
Yeah.
So that's my game. I really enjoyed making it up because I love these kinds of games. And I'm like, we get exhausted with 20 questions when we're camping or driving or whatever because we play it all the time.
Yeah.
So it's a fun little addition.
Do you want to do one more round each? Because I'm really liking it.
Yes. Let's do one more round.
Okay.
Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You go first, unless you don't have one.
I have one. I'm thinking of a celebrity.
Okay. Is it Janelle Monáe?
No, but I love her. Okay, the noun I'm thinking of is Scientology.
Leah Remini.
No.
Okay.
The verb I'm thinking of is, or the verb to describe this thing is dance.
John Travolta.
Yeah. Dang
Really?
It. Yeah. I thought that was gonna throw you off.
Damn. Okay, so it's funny because I was like, okay, who's a Scientologist? And I was like, okay, we've got Tom Cruise, we've got Will Smith.
Wait, Will Smith is a Scientologist?
I don't know. I think that was something I decided in my head when I was a teenager. So for some reason, Scientology in my head is like him too. But John Travolta, and I was like, if it's Tom Cruise, you're gonna say jumping. For some reason, like him jumping on Oprah's couch is in my head.
And like jumping off buildings in Mission Impossible.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Plus,
that's
I was
so
gonna say
funny.
like for my proper noun, then I was gonna say like a movie that he was in,
Oh,
just
that's
to be like
good.
the final
Yeah,
push, but we didn't get there.
that's smart. Okay, I'm thinking of a book.
Okay, is it Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone?
It's not. My noun is a bush.
Where the red fern grows.
Nope. My my verb
Yes.
is to command.
The Bible.
It is the Bible.
I feel like we know each other's brains too much too.
Yeah.
But see, that's fun. Like I love that that's the way you spun it. And then if obviously if we weren't recording a podcast, we could just like talk about how that was funny and like how I would have said something else to explain that or whatever.
Yeah. No, I'm so impressed by this game.
Thank you.
It's definitely pulls in a lot of things I like about games.
Yes. I was
And also
hoping
it's
that you'd
so
say that.
accessible.
Yes. As long as you can talk, really, you can do it.
You can do it.
Because you
And
can do it
like
about like lamp, chair,
yeah.
cat, squid.
Because this is a game I feel like you could play with a kid even.
Yes.
And then it'd be like a fun way to exercise like what verbs, nouns, and proper nouns and adjectives are.
Yes. Yes.
And be like, okay, I'm gonna think of something and I'm gonna say one noun that has to do with this thing.
That's funny that you say that because when I was testing this out on Gary, I kept being like, okay, my noun for this is funky. And he's like, isn't that an adjective? And I'd be like, fuck.
No, like it's a funk. Like it
Yeah.
smells. It's a funk. It's
basically we're dumb.
yeah.
So my rating system is tracks.
Yeah, like if you didn't get the rating system, like track one of like a playlist.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm on board. So I think out of 10 tracks, we do this every week, but I'm rating this a 10 because I love the make me. It's made me be creative in a way that sometimes the creative ones I'm like, God damn it, like I can't do this. This one I was like, fuck, this is gonna be hard. And then I had time to think about it and like brew, and I was thinking about it for a long time. And I actually created a game that I think I will use later in life
Yeah.
and have already been using this weekend. And I played it on the phone with my mom and it worked over the phone too.
There you go.
I
Call
said,
your mom and play the game.
I said, Mom, I'm thinking of a movie and your noun is chemistry. And she goes, Flubber.
Was it
and
right?
that was the right answer.
Oh my gosh.
So 10 out of 10. You crushed it giving me this one. And I think I did a good job.
I loved it. That was a good one.
Thanks.
Do you want to go into next week's Make Me's?
Yes, I would love to.
Okay. Do you have one ready?
I have one ready if you will let me go first.
Yep, you go first.
Okay. Since I gave you a really tough one this week for today, I'm going to give you one that I think will be soothing for you, but also a little bit challenging.
Okay.
Which is, I know you're a minimalist and I wanted to make you Marie Kondo your whole life, but I know you already have a lot of stuff.
I was like, I'm
you've
already
already
doing that.
done a lot of that. So I want you to Marie Kondo all of your social media. Meaning like getting rid of people that you only hate follow, like muting a ton of people, like actually going through even like your email, just getting rid of shit all over the place.
I love this. I've been wanting to do this anyway. And
I need you to focus on Instagram just because that's like, we've talked about this before. It's the one we use the most.
Yes.
But anything digital, even like your desktop.
I love it. I'm going to do it.
Okay, sweet.
And then for you, Julia, I'm putting this in a category I call Make Me Yummies.
Ooh.
This week on Make Me Yummies, I want you to make me a matcha latte.
Ooh, fun.
And I want like a good recipe. I want a go-to matcha latte recipe because you gave me my go-to like oat milk, like my dairy-free milk recipe.
Yeah.
I want a go-to matcha latte recipe.
I'm so excited for this.
Yay.
Wait, do you still use do you make your own oat milk and stuff?
Between you and me, no. Between me, us, and listeners, of course I do.
Yeah. Great. That's all I need to hear.
But I now know how to, and I know exactly what recipe I would. You know what I mean? Like for
Right.
me, a lot of foods are kind of like, I don't like to cook. So there are certain foods where I'm like, when I want to be able to do it myself, I want to have like a good recipe. So the next time I go to make my own dairy-free milk, when I'm in the mood to do it, I know exactly where to go.
Yes. Love
You know?
that. I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay. Do you have a make me for the listeners?
I do have a make me for the listeners. I want you all to go on goop.com. Let me double check that that's what it is.
Goopy goop.
Okay, goop.com. And I want you to find your favorite Goop product, and I want you to message us on Make Me about it. And I want you to give like a review of it without ever having it.
Oh my God, I love this. And bonus points if you have had it, because that's
Yes.
wild in
And tell us
itself.
everything and recommend it.
Especially if it's Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina candle.
Oh my God. It smells like her vagina.
All right, until next time.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, it's Jordan and Julia. Thanks for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed it.
For content related to this episode, follow us at Make Me Pod on Instagram. And you can hear episodes each week on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you find us anywhere else, please let us know.
You can also send us your questions, comments, make me suggestions, pictures of your dog, or requests for unlicensed medical advice to makemepod@gmail.com.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, rate, etc., etc. That's how we get discovered.
Please, we need to be clicked.
But for real, leave a comment so we know you love us.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.